Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome back to this week's Competitive Modern League. It's going to be round 3 with Jeskai Control. I want to take a moment to mention my most recent vlog, the Jeskai Roundtable with Harlan Fear and Jonathan Rossum. I posted part 1 a few weeks ago. I'll put a link in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Check it out if you haven't already. There's some great information in there for you. Without further ado, let's get into today's game. While I'm waiting for that league to queue or to fire, I want to mention that, if you didn't know already, I think I said it before, but I am most likely going to play in Grand Prix Lyon in France. It's about an hour from where, or hour and a half from where I live in Geneva. Completely doable. It's also like one of the gastronomic capitals of France, so it's actually not difficult to convince my wife to bring a friend and basically go for the weekend, because on her end it's like, well, you're going to play Magic and I'm going to get to, visit one of the, hang out at one of the gastronomic capitals of France, which is kind of known for food. But one of the reasons I was playing Jeskai Control is I'm trying to decide, this is my long-winded way of saying I'm trying to decide what I'm going to play in the GP. Of course, my default and what I will most likely play is some version of Jeskai mid-range. But there's a lot of merit to this version of the deck as well. And there's matches where you don't want Geist. Now I do firmly believe that Geist and Queller do help in a lot of places, but I think it comes down to play style and just probably what you're most comfortable with. But I guess I want to try like the other extreme of Jeskai. The one thing I'm sort of working around in my head is, can I find a way to sort of meet them in the middle, meaning keep some of the speed and aggression that Jeskai mid-range has, but also give it a little bit better of a late game. So we'll see. I'm looking at Search for Azcanta to possibly do that, just so you're aware. I think I'll play that deck next week. Anyway, okay. So I think this is a keep. It's not ideal, but we have lands and we have spells. And our hand is sort of, it doesn't really do anything in that, we don't know what, it itself doesn't have any reactive or proactive cards outside of this bolt. But the nice thing about these Serum Visions is we can turn, looks like we're playing Valakut or Burn. Okay, so let's say the nice thing is we can kind of turn this into what we need it to be. Alright, so we're going to definitely start with Flooded Strand. And the intention is we're going to get a Lightning Bolt. Probably just go ahead and discard. Might be able to discard this Hollowed Fountain, because if this gets a Steam Vents, this can go along with that. Or rather, this can go along with that. Yeah, you know what I mean. I can play this with the Steam Vents. This can get an island. I should kind of have everything I need. The one thing is if I can find a window to play this tapped. But I feel like I have a lot of spells to cast. So let's see, because I'm not going to bolt this turn. Yeah, I think I'm going to need my mana, and I'm going to be able to play this Flooded Strand just for a mountain. I think I'm going to need the mana. It's going to make more sense to Flooded Strand for a mountain than it is going to be to play the Hollowed Fountain tap, because I think that might take a little bit more time. Because right now I'm going to need to find an answer to this. Well, I have the answer to Goblin Guide, but I'm going to need to kill the Goblin Guide with this bolt and play Serum Visions. Now, there's an interesting decision here, and that is to fetch, or with the Goblin Guide trigger on the stack, do you fetch or wait for it to resolve? I'm just a big fan. I know that I'm going to need to fetch anyway, so I'm kind of a big fan of just fetching before. Now, if I don't think I need to, if I'm like, oh, I don't need to fetch, then I think you can make an argument to hold up the fetch land and see what you're going to draw first. Okay, drawing a land is totally fine. We might, I mean, it's not ideal, but we'd love to draw Lightning Helix, obviously, but it's okay. So if he plays Eidolon, yeah, that's annoying. Hopefully we draw a Helix. We don't. So what we're going to need to do is bolt the Eidolon. This is we're taking a lot of damage here, unfortunately, from this Goblin Guide. But we have to bolt the Eidolon because we have to play the Serum Visions because we need to find the spells that we need. I don't think I win any of these. I'm going to bottom both of those. We're not totally out of the woods yet. If we can Serum Visions our way into a Lightning Helix, that would be great. We might be able to claw back here. But anytime Goblin Guide starts doing just multiples of damage, they you know, what is this going to be? Our third attack from that Goblin Guide? Goblin Guide's giving us a lot of lands. Okay, Lightning Helix is exactly what we need. I have enough lands I don't need to play these Colonnades at the moment. I'm going to start by Serum Visioning. Okay, don't really want this other Colonnade. I will take the Logic Knot. If he... the reason I'm not firing it off is I want to see if he fetches, because if he fetches, we get a chance to use our Lightning... Okay, so now we get a chance to use our Lightning Helix if he does anything. The question is, okay, so let's see here. We have one removal spell. Grim Lavamancer with the Eidolon and the Bolt represents 2 damage. Right now, like, he bolts us, he gets a mountain, he activates Grim Lavamancer, that's 2 damage, which is the same amount Goblin Guide's going to deal us next turn. Then a fetch land and another spell means Grim Lavamancer does a total of 4, which is the next 2 attacks from Goblin Guide. So I think it actually makes more sense to shoot the Grim Lavamancer. And if we do it with this bolt on the stack, then he doesn't... We're basically completely countering the Grim Lavamancer, and he doesn't get to use it at all. So I think just helixing that is probably best. You know, I think actually now that I'm being like hindsight is 2020, I think it makes more sense. It would have made more sense to maybe bottom the knot because we need to find a removal spot for this Goblin Guide. Excuse me. All right, negate. Let's just play this Colonnade. So we are going to be able to cast Gear Hulk next turn. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. Now, if they're all Searing Blazes, that's one thing. This Killer Waste is pretty cool, actually. Let's play this Plains. So we can secure for... We can secure for 3 and hold up Negate or Logic Knot, which is, I think, what we're going to do. I'd like to play the Torrential Gear Hulk, but... I feel like being at 5, if we play the Gear Hulk... Already, we might just be dead. We have to do something about the Goblin Guide. And playing Secure the Waste for any more than... Like, we could just play it for 3, but we don't have anything else to really hold up with that. Discarding this just because if I end up wanting to get another basic, it'd be a mountain. Okay, let's see what this is here. We do get to see. It's another land. Alright, so let's secure. Could make an argument actually for securing just for 2. That way. No, I think this makes more sense. The downside to this, I guess, is it turns on to Searing Blazes, but so does the Gear Hulk. I mean, he has 5 cards in hand. We're only at 5 life. We have to try to kill this Goblin Guide any way that we can. So we're sort of just forced into doing this, even though, you know, we like to just kill it for 1 mana and then hold up all of our counter spells. It's not really an option that we have. He's got some action, obviously, because he's thinking a bit about this. If he casts a Searing Blaze on one of our tokens, I think we have to let that go and then kill the Goblin Guide with the remaining 2. Obviously, we're going to block with all 3. Alright, so far so good. We have pressure. Sort of. Eidolon, maybe? Bolt us. Yeah, I think we need to counter that. There's just, I mean, there's so many, like I was saying, there's so many ways that we're dead here, and I don't think there's much I can do about it. 1, 2, 3 Serum Visions. I'm assuming he just has enough burn to kill us because he knows we have the Logic Knot. He also, I think, knows about the negate. Yeah, okay. Alright, let's bring in the 3 Dispels. Let's bring in the Clicks. I think we did that last time. Things I remember not wanting were the Nahiris, the Supreme Verdicts, the Electrolyzes, and there was some debate I had on whether Secure was whether I wanted Secure the Waste or Celestial Purge. And I actually don't think I want Secure the Waste in this matchup. I've played it twice now, and I think I just might want another Purge. And the issue is you just kind of have to you can purge something for 2 mana, and if you're late game and you happen to have a Secure, sure, it's great. But if you end up needing to use it defensively, you have to kind of spend more mana than you want to, I think, to get the effect that you want out of it. Now, I like Ruined Halo, but I'm not going to bring it in. I think last time I kept 1 in. Maybe it's better than the Gear Hulk. Gear Hulk's really expensive. I don't know. I think the Gear Hulk is good enough. I think this is good enough. I'm going to keep this. I know Gear Hulk's really expensive, but if we survive to the late game, it's not bad to have another way to flashback Lightning Helix. Alright, so this hand is so unfortunate. If this was a Hollowed Fountain, we'd be in good shape. Yeah, I have to mulligan this because I just don't... The reason we have to mulligan this hand is because It's really important to kill their turn 1 creature, and we just don't have a way to do that. And if we don't draw a white source, if we draw a white source, this hand is pretty reasonable. I forgot I had these Jeskai Azcantas in the deck. I don't think I want them. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, so this is better. I think my best way to use my lands here. Alright, so I think I'm going to go Scalding Tarn into Plains, and that's the quickest way that I can get this Lightning Helix online with the minimal amount of damage. Yeah, I forgot about those Azcantas. That kind of sideboarded maybe too quickly. I didn't. I mentioned this I think in the last game. I said it's really important to like go over your deck and do what I say. Don't do what I do. I said it's really important to go over your deck and figure out all the things you don't want and like line those up before you look at what you have to bring in. Because if you have cards that you're like, I just definitely don't want those cards, you need to have a good way. Yeah, you need to have a good. You need to make sure you get them out. And that's another way to look at, I think, to look at sideboarding in general. When like I don't always do this, I do it before events, but when I like want to say, okay, what are the main matchups? Like I really don't want these cards in these matchups. Like these are serviceable, maybe they're not great, but these are absolutely horrific. I want to make sure that I have a sideboarding plan for all those matchups to make sure I can get those cards out of the deck. Okay, so I'm going to keep this. Colonnade, it doesn't matter. I'm going to shuffle. So I'm probably going to be I'm going to be activating these. This is one thing I wanted to mention. The reason I'm saying like not playing the Sacred Foundry and then using the Flooded Strand or something, or like playing the Sacred Foundry and then getting a Mountain. This lets me get a Steam Vent, so I make sure I get more blue sources, and it allows me to use my fetch lands to get a shock land. Which is important just to make my mana better. Like it's fine to use your fetch lands to get basics. That's what kind of it's completely fine. But a lot of times you need to use them to get basics. I mean to get dual lands to make sure that your mana's right. Now I'd love this to get a Hallowed Fountain or something, but I'm just not gonna. I don't want to shock with the Sacred Foundry. If I get a white source, then we have like blue, blue, red, white. This spell's great, but I am gonna go ahead and just get rid of this now. Could have made an argument there for holding it and kind of seeing what he did and potentially like opening us up to only take 1 additional damage in case he plays an Eidolon, since we don't have another removal spell for it. And like if he plays an Eidolon here, he didn't, but we'd have to do a lot more work to get rid of it and take more damage off of like casting Serum Visions first. Bolt would be great. Path would be fine. Helix would just be great. It's super great. All right, well, let's start off Serum Visioning with this. Okay, this is awful. This is also not what I want. If I play Serum Visions and I draw a path, then that's good. That's what I would hope to have done. Otherwise, since I left these searches for the deck, I think I'm just going to get this out of the way and Hopefully I don't just take 1,000,000 damage off of Monastery Swiftspear, but there's a chance that I do. This should have come out, for the record. I know I took them out last time we played against Burn. You can't play like a 2-mana enchantment that just comes down and like right now it's not doing much for us. Yeah, we're gonna take a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he cast 3 spells this turn. Okay. Thankfully he did not. Put Servants into your graveyard. Good lord, like completely flooded on these things. Yeah, I do want to put it in the graveyard. I need to increase my chances to draw down towards removal spells. Okay, so looking for removal. Alright, well, bottom, top, play this thing. Man, for a deck that has so many removal spells, I feel like I'm having trouble killing their creatures. I think I'm going to dispel this Helix because I know I'm drawing a Snapcaster Mage. I want a Snapcaster. I want to Snap Helix this. This lets me use this mana this turn, and I'm not going to shock with the Sacred Foundry so that I can. I'm not going to shock with the Sacred Foundry so that I can snap Helix. We know there's a Snapcaster Mage, and we know we want it. Oh, that was kind of a mistake on my part, actually. Knowing there's a Snapcaster Mage and 7 cards in the graveyard, I should have chosen to keep the Dispel. I got mistakes with this card. Because now what I'm going to do is completely punt and accidentally tap my planes. All right. That was such a mistake. That was just accidentally clicking the wrong thing. Oh, gosh. I guess I'm Serum Visioning. Whoops. Alright, that's two bad mistakes there. Alright, so bottom, top. Don't forget to play the land, Nate. Whoops. Okay, so first thing there, if I knew what I was doing, I would have seen that I had 7 cards in the graveyard. Realized that I could hold on to, let the Helix resolve, hold on to the spell because I could go Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Helix. On the following turn, with the extra mana for Jeskai Azcanta, I could have dispelled his Skullcrack. Next mistake was just accidentally tapping the planes so that I don't even get a chance to do that. So in this position, he would have had a dead Swiftspear, and we would have a Snapcaster Mage. There's a small chance we can dispel and cryptic. We can also search, right? Yeah, we can search and hold up a Dispel. If he plays a permanent here, we're going to obviously Cryptic Command it, because we won't be dead to the one card that he still has in his hand. He probably has 6 points of burn in his hand because he's thinking about it. He's sitting here pausing, looking at like a Helix and 2 bolts or something, or a Boros Charm and whatever. Will these resolve? Whatever if he plays a spell, we're going to Cryptic Command it. All right, so he didn't. So yeah, I'm going to activate Search. He may try to go. Ooh. All right, let's take that. All right, so I want you to not have 3 actual spells. I really would. Okay, that's good. So now we're a little bit safer to get this rev off. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and cast the rev for 2. Dispel the Skullcrack. Our opponent needs to just build up some cards in his hand, but this does make kind of an interesting situation in that. Yeah, let's see. Do I want to Cryptic this? I think I just want to Cryptic and get this Cryptic out of my hand. 2, 3, 4. Let's play this. Try not to use that Flooded Strand. Let's go searching. Just take this Lightning Helix. Any order. Go ahead and shoot the Lightning Helix at our opponent now. Untap. I'm just... I guess I'll play one, but I really don't want to crack them. Maybe 1 search for Azcanta is okay. I mean, maybe I'm thinking like 2 in the ideal scenario, but in this stage of the game, it's pretty good. Because what a burn component can sometimes do is, when you're at a really low life total, is play draw go with you a bit until they assemble more than lethal burn with really efficient spells, and they can sort of overload your counter spells all kind of at instant speed. But if we have enough mana to search every turn with protection, it makes that plan untenable, I think. I guess I could just counter this. But the thing is, I think we have enough mana to just search first and see what we see. So let's take the Helix. Kind of wish I'd keep that Spell Snare too. Alright. Managed to escape that match. All right, so the searches, you know, I'm just really not sure. They're terrible early. I certainly don't want two. My gut says you just don't want any. Um, I just haven't played with them enough to know. Probably just the other negates better. And then I guess a purge is fine. Oof, managed to win despite my fumbling earlier. All right, so this hand is pretty reasonable, except the thing I keep mentioning, we don't have a way to kill their first creature. So I think I have to mulligan this hand. You just have to have... It's really important because if that Goblin Guide gets in 6 damage, you're not going to win the game. And I have no library manipulation to find a removal spell. So it was like, we could mulligan into something bad, but I feel like there's a good chance that we just lose. That we will draw removal eventually, of course. But I think it's correct to mulligan to find a way to kill their first guy. Okay, so this hand is real dubious. I'm going to keep it, but I don't think it's a great hand. We're going to have to do a lot of work. But we get to draw a card. We're on the play. We get to draw a card, and then we get to Serum Visions. If we see a land, the Goblin Guide will help us draw it with this scry here. So it's possible that we can make this work out. All right, I'm going to keep that on top, hoping for Goblin Guide on turn 1. Well, actually, no, I'm not hoping for Goblin Guide on turn 1. But if he plays a Goblin Guide on turn 1, I want to land on top. So now we're really just looking for the other component to this. Some way to get a Steam Vents, so we can have Steam Vents, Glacial Fortress, and this island. Okay, there's the Goblin Guide. So we will get that land off the top. This does raise an interesting question in that I still think we play the Serum Visions. I was going to say, yeah, that would also come into play in Tef, unfortunately. All right, so I think it has to be Island into Serum Visions. There's another Lightning Helix. Okay, so things could definitely turn around for us. We're going to have to take a bit of damage off this Goblin Guide. I want the Serum Visions. I think I want the Serum Visions. Certainly with the Helix. Excuse me, sorry. What I'm trying to decide here is what is next turn going to look like? So if I play Sulphur Falls and say go, he attacks me with Goblin Guide. I think I'm going to do that. So if I'm just going to pass, I'm not going to use the Serum Visions. I could put the Serum Visions on top. Then the next turn when I get to 3 mana, I have a chance to Helix and Serum Visions. The reason I'm going to just say, well, let's see here. Trying to decide if I'm going to have time to use the Serum Visions. I think it's fine. I think I can just do this. I'm putting the Serum Visions on top. I don't want him to know that we're going to draw it next the turn after. He's going to find out anyway, but at least with this attack, he's not going to see it. He's certainly not going to know about both of them. So if we can find a window to resolve Helix, Helix, and then eventually snap Helix, I think we'll be okay. But we're going to take a lot of damage off this Goblin Guide in order to make this work, so that's troubling. Okay, opponent plays a Swift Spear. So we knew we were drawing this. Must want to rethink this decision now. Like what I want to insulate myself from, the reason I want to hold up the Logic Knot, I'm tempted to hold up the Logic Knot to counter something like an Eidolon. But if our opponent misses on lands again, he's not going to cast an Eidolon, and then in that case, I'd rather get the Serum Visions out of the way. I think I'm just going to get the Serum Visions out of the way here. Then he doesn't see this Helix too. I'm going to bottom the Torrential Gearhulk. The Click. I'm going to bottom the Click. I don't think I'm going to have... I want the Click, but I don't think I'm going to have time to cast it. I'm going to go ahead and just play the Sulfur Falls. I've put some stuff on the bottom of my library I know that I don't want. I don't think I need to play the Flooded Strand yet. Found the other land. He's also incentivized, I guess, not to cast an Eidolon this turn because he can do more with the Swift Spear. Alright. Taking so much damage. Bolt is good. Let's go ahead and just Helix this. So next turn we can get an island for this and hopefully kill this Goblin Guide and counter a Skullcrack. Molten Rain? Oh, he's just Rift Bolting us. Alright, well that clears the way for us to just... Okay, well, we got to land out of it. What are the chances his last card is a... Because I kind of want to snap Helix. If I play the Flooded Strand, let him untap, Helix him at his upkeep. If he has a Skullcrack, we're going to need to fetch down to 1, counter the Skullcrack. He's going to spend 2 of his mana, and we'll go up to 4. Alternatively, we can just play the Sacred Foundry, go up to 5, and then just hope that he is unable to kill us. The decision we have to make here is to keep a counter. I think it's best to just give ourselves the option, actually. I think I'm going to Helix now. I know that the Goblin guy could give us a trigger. But if I don't have to use this, then we get to stay at 5. So if we don't end up having to use the Logic Knot next turn, then maybe that was actually, maybe it would have been better, because if he does Skullcrack in response and we counter it, then he sort of taps himself out from another Skullcrack. We get to untap and then go Snap Helix. Yeah, I think that line would have been a bit better. I like Skullcracking on their turn when you know you have a counter, because you kind of make them use their answer to it, and you also can make them tap out a bit, which isn't that, it's not like that's the end all be all, but all right, let's play this. Say go. All right, the fact that our opponent is not playing lands is scary. I'm gonna go and fire off a bolt. Or fire off another one. Okay, so now I think we need to go ahead and Snap Helix our opponent. The reason is he only has access to 3 mana, and yeah, we can basically get an island with this if we need to, and counter a Skullcrack and be guaranteed to gain the life. Just making sure I'm not going to screw this up like last time. Alright, Snapcaster Mage, target Lightning Helix, use the Sacred Foundry to cast it. White, red. I think Bolt's fine. We could still be dead. Only at 4. But our opponent has to have, I guess, 2 burn spells. It's kind of annoying. Actually, let's attack. I was going to say, what we can do is tap the Eidolon. If he goes to beginning of combat, and we don't take any damage from doing that. And then if he... So he's lower life than us, right? So if we tap the Eidolon, we stay at 4. If he bolts us, the trigger that deals him 2 will resolve before that bolt, and we go to 1. And if he tries to bolt us again, then the trigger from the Eidolon goes to 2. So if we're able to tap that Eidolon, I think that we would be able to, that we would have won the game anyway. That was a close one. These matches are definitely a lot easier with Geist in your deck. Okay, thank you very much for watching. That was round 3. I will see you guys for round 4. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you haven't checked out the Jeskai round table, please be doing so, or please do so if you're interested in that kind of thing. And I'll be meeting, I should be meeting with Harlan and Jonathan this Sunday. the 14th. So hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys a part 2 where we get to the rest of everybody's questions. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.